Remember that weird tie-in Godfather game that came out back in 2006 that just wasn't that good of a game? Yeah, me neither. But I do remember Mafia. Ooh, do I remember Mafia. Oh, especially Mafia 2. Now, I'm going to be talking about all three Mafia games. Kind of just a quick video on my thoughts on all the Mafia games. Collectively, not the stories. I'll make a video later on the stories alone, but Mafia was made to just be a clone to another game, just like that Godfather game, just like the Scarface game, just like the Sopranos game. But you see, what Mafia did differently is it succeeded, and it was a good game. I just wanted to add something in that I didn't realize during the original recording. I always associated Mafia to the GTA games as a kid, and getting older I realized and knew that 2K made Mafia and Rockstar made GTA, so they weren't like part of the same game line or anything. But I think the reason that those two seem so familiar is, I don't know about the older games, I'll need to look into Mafia 1 and Mafia 2, but while agreeing to the agreement licenses in Mafia 3, I noticed that one of them was actually a Take-Two agreement, so that means that they had something to do with at least Mafia 3, so that's probably why the games do feel a little similar, because Take-Two Interactive has something to do with both of them. And I just thought that was interesting because they're so similar, but everyone knows they're a totally different game franchise. But you'd see now why they are pretty similar. But yeah, let's just get right back into it. Maybe it was due to it being just a PC exclusive on release, the original Mafia. But how I was introduced to the Mafia series was Mafia 2. I remember playing Mafia 2, specifically the demo. I had two demos on my Xbox 360 when I first got it. It was Mafia 2 and Just Cause 2. And I played those two demos to death. The two twos. And from what I could remember, the Mafia 2 was like you got to play the mission in the warehouse, and you drove around the city, and you had the house that Vito has, and it gave you like a 30-minute timer. I don't know. And then when I finally got the full game, when my mom found me old enough to play M-rated games and didn't question what I was playing, even though she would have been quite upset with the contents of Mafia, I had a blast playing through that story. And going back to Mafia 1, it was made to kind of ride the success of the new GTA third-person games, but they decided to switch up the story. You see, with those other tie-in games that I was talking about, it was first off a tie-in game to a movie or TV series, and along with that, it was newer ages that we either saw in GTA or we were seeing in other games. You see, with Mafia, they decided to go with, yeah, sure, the mob, like a few of those games, but they went back in the day. They went all the way back to the 40s. They were showing when the mob was still bussin'. But I don't think they honestly expected the level of success that Mafia got compared to those other games. You see, it stood up to games like GTA. People loved it, and it became a cult classic. It became a game with a big following. And I remember this was like my first GTA. I never played GTA, and when I got this was the big sandbox open world game where you could go rob a store, you can change your clothes, you can go get a burger at the diner. It felt so alive for a game to me. And honestly, that's what they did so right with those games. They gave it an environment. They gave it a city that was alive. And you know how much I love a good environment. Really, there's nothing special about the soundscape. There's nothing special about the gunplay. To be honest, it's not that good in any of the games. But it was just the story and the feeling of the world felt good. And I know the feeling of the world is part of the environment, but you know what I mean. It was just such a fun experience to have and such a fun game to play compared to the games out at the time. And really, Mafia 1 and Mafia 2 really shot up the ranks in people's minds, and people loved those games. Now, to be honest, Mafia 3 was the downfall. And I think Mafia 3 is the reason we haven't really seen a Mafia 4 yet. I think they are working on it, but Mafia 3 was not, in my opinion, as good as either of the first two. See, they took away a lot of what made those games feel good. They took away the ability to go into diners. At first, you didn't have the ability to even change your clothes. The only way to change the clothes was on certain missions, your clothes would change. And it just didn't feel as alive. It felt more restricted and closed down, and really, that's what I loved about the Mafia games. It was so open and you could do what you wanted. I will say, DLC saved Mafia 3. certain things, it added more things to do to the game, and it made it feel more replayable for me. Now, these games were actually so good, they ended up getting a definitive edition, all 3 of them. Now, I don't know why Mafia 3 got a definitive edition. It came out like 3 years after the actual game came out, but I'll let 2K do 2K. But Mafia 1's definitive edition was really good, but really different. They changed a lot of story aspects, and to be honest, it's kind of a remake rather than a definitive edition, but some people would argue me on that, and I do understand the arguments for it not quite being a remake, because it's not, I don't know. But Mafia 2's was probably the best definitive edition, except they did take a few things out. But I haven't actually played the Mafia 3 definitive edition because, as I said, I don't know why they made it. I played it a couple years before the definitive edition came out, so I felt like I had enough. Maybe I'll play it again. I have a lot of games that I'm playing because of videos and because of free time games. I'm just kind of swamped on the gaming front right now, but I'll get around to it. One thing though that I think all 3 Mafia games does right is the story. All 3 games have an amazing and engaging story that really hooks you in, and it makes it feel like a TV show or a movie. When some characters die, it feels so personal, like you had a connection to them. I don't know. They did so well on the story, and people didn't really like the story for the 3rd Mafia. I'll even fight them on that. I thought the 3rd game story was still great. Maybe it doesn't stand up to Mafia 1 or Mafia 2, but it's still an amazing story. I will say, one little gripe I had with it is it doesn't really feel like a Mafia game. You're not part of the Mafia, you're not really running any Mafia racket. You're just like a gang guy. You're a gang member who has a gang that one of the characters in the gang are from the mob. I don't know. You can tell me what you think about that. I don't want this video to be too long. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on the Mafia games. You know, these videos are just the beginning. I will get into more games. You know, I'm saying these games in a general 3, why I like the 3 games, because later on I want the ability to break down in each game what I think of it, what I think of the story. So just wait out on those videos. They'll be coming once I get, as I said, my foot into the YouTube door, once I get things going, once I get things cooking. But yeah, that's about it for this video. If you agreed with anything I said or disagreed with anything I said, definitely let me know in the comments. If you liked the video and want to see more and want to wait for those videos where I describe these games in detail and I do something longer and I do more and I get better at editing, definitely subscribe, like, do everything you gotta do. Stay notified. And as always, don't forget to check out BillyTheWhip.com or just BillyTheWhip on any music platform for some great music. And as always, have a great day.